magic. Do you believe in it or nah? Because we ain't got no time for you non believers at all. Shout out to those of y'all in the live chat. You already know what it is. What's up, Sea Breeze? What's up, Star Seed? What's up, VC Says? What's up, Rachel? What's up, Iman? All right. I did a whole lot of reports today. I just finished doing the weekly horoscopes for Future Life. So if you're on Future Life, they gonna be uploaded tonight. If you're not on Future Life, what are you waiting for? Okay. And I'm also going to be finishing up and working on the webinar that I'm going to do tomorrow. I noticed a few of you purchased extra seats for the webinar. I don't know about you, but it's going down. I know you peeped the baby face, team baby face. I might get the chin strap again, but I'm loving this baby face right now. All I gotta do is bring out the waves, okay? But yeah, please no super chat. Any of you who do super chat today, I'm not going to be back until next week, the 1st. So keep that in mind because, yeah, I might go live tomorrow if I have time because I'm going to do extra reports in advance. But yeah, no super chat for today. I just want to focus on the ceremony. So this is part 1 of 2. I've put in the link in the description box below, as well as the comments down below, that we are going to do part 2 of this ceremony tomorrow. Okay. Please don't get it twisted. Tomorrow is still the full moon. I think people are a little bit confused when it comes to discerning what makes the full moon a full moon. A full moon is a 2-day transit. I definitely like to do these in the same day. Wasn't able to. I mean, I was, but I didn't. So just keep that in mind. The full moon is literally a lot to do more so with just the moon being opposite the sun, and it does last for 2 days. The webinar is still tomorrow, Luna G. Great question. The webinar tomorrow is going to happen at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the webinar, the ceremony is 5 p.m. Pacific. The webinar is noon. All right. For those of you who want to catch it live, I'm really not playing with y'all. This is probably the only one that I'm going to do live because I'm going to actually make these monthly videos downloadable. So Aquarius season will be available pretty soon. But yeah, this will be the only one that I do live. So if you want to catch the Q&A session, come through. This is your one-stop shop for understanding at a detailed enough level the transits for Capricorn season. Okay. The link of the webinar is in the comments below and also the description box of this video. For those of you who want the link of the webinar, sorry, the link of the ceremony, the link of the webinar is on my website. Go to my website, thepeacedealer.com, go to my reports, and get my webinar for Capricorn season. This is where I'm going to focus more of my transits. I can't necessarily promote this enough. I'm pushing this for a reason. It's jam-packed with value. But other than that, this full moon in Cancer is kicking off a very important eclipse. And the reason why I said this is part 1 of 2, right, NR? We are almost at Aquarius season. 2018 just skipped by. It's like, I am not trying to be in this year. But yeah, appreciate you, Carol. Okay. This is once again very important because for this ceremony, all you need is your sincerity. All you need is you, okay? Tomorrow, we're going to bring a piece of paper. Part 2 of this ceremony, I'm going to team up with Aphrodite and we're going to do a Nen condition and restriction ceremony. So we're now at a position where we can take the downloading of our super conscious selves that literally came from the universe. And if you don't believe me, then you don't understand what it means to have the South Node transiting Aquarius. Everyone all over the world, even beings that live on Neptune with that dense core, and beings that live in Saturn, all right, on these gas planets, just because we haven't found life there doesn't mean there's not life there. And there are beings that are invisible that exist in different frequencies that can withstand those pressures. I have no proof of this. That's how I know this. Okay. And we have all downloaded super conscious knowledge of ourselves directly to our hearts. The North Node in Leo, it was a rigorous transit. I see you, Asma Muhammad. Thank you for getting a webinar. See you tomorrow. It will be legendary. It will be epic. This is very, very, very important because the super conscious energy that you downloaded to your heart is now shifting effectively into your soul so that you can utilize this power. All right. When we take into account, what's up, Shannon? What's up, Heidi? What's up, Mercedes? When we take into account, thank you, Salt, and what's up, T? The powerful element of Capricorn when it comes to, thank you, Miss Leo Scope Aqua, the superpowers that have been emerging, this is now taking the existential quality of how power exists as a whole, because Pisces is interconnected, Aquarius is mental telepathic interconnectivity. In fact, if you guys notice, it wasn't until the last 2 years that the whole notion of telepathic attacks have been its strongest. That's why Cancer suns and Cancer moons, and yes, just like Carrie West said, hit that like button, y'all. Show me some love. This is why Cancer suns and Cancer moons have been going through torture, because Aquarius is 8th house and Capricorn is 7th house. That's an opposition and that's a battle, to where you're feeling the harshness of telepathic thoughts with people who definitely aren't necessarily in a position to care as much as a Cancer might care, even a Cancer rising as well. All these dynamics are ready to now be dealt with. The more willing most of you are to not be a coward and to confront directly each and every one of these impulses. What am I saying? That means this interconnectivity of energy that has allowed us to understand reality at such a divine and extraordinary cosmic level is being seriously personalized. This abstract supernatural power that has been growing from you is no longer just abstract, but it is crystallizing in Capricorn to now integrate everything that was downloaded mentally into your physical body, so that from your physical body, you can match this down to the core and imprint it in your soul. Bam, superpowers. Because then it's going to go into Gemini, and this is where we're just all magical. And it's just like, look what I'm doing. Look what I can do. Look what I can do. Look what I can do, right? Like Shannon said, mad abs. I promise y'all, by the time the North Node is in Gemini, you're going to see me with a sexy six-pack. I was going to say 8-pack, but you're going to see me with a sexy body. Period. I'm doing the work in Capricorn. Are you going to do the work in Capricorn? Only time will tell. There is a very extremely subtle integration of all the greatest parts of yourself that you now have no choice but to step into, because you have to be your greatest self to express the greatest sincerity. The download has been happening for years, Cookie. Great question. Because we're bringing into account cosmic forces that are outside of space and time, we cannot logically quantify when a download that has happened for all time across all realities happened. But we can say that it wasn't until 2 years ago that this started to download in our timeline. And the whole notion of timeline shifting, the whole notion, I like how Luna G said since 2012, because that was when Neptune went into Pisces. Everything that we're going through now is consolidating on this shift that occurred since 2008. And it's important that I say since 2008, since 2012, you guys have felt special connections to people on a very divine and spiritual level that has not made the most sense, because you see on the surface, it may not map out, it may not play out. That's because some of you more than others have special affinities to these abstract energies. Or like Tiana Cat, you could be a time traveler. Well, guess the F what? Now, all of this is going to come into realistic clarity. Now, all of this is not going to be confusing. You're going to realize certain people gaslighted their own emotions because they could not acknowledge the deep soul love and near obsession that they have with you, or aspects and elements of you. Do you now see why you need to stand with integrity? Because a Capricorn can come into such an ocean and wave of feelings and still stand firm with the person that they are, so that they can be the figurehead to direct all this energy. And you're going to realize that certain things were not at all as they seemed. You're going to realize you had to actually beef and engage negatively with some people in order to now appreciate more the connection you have. That's a huge theme. And let me tell you why. Saturn in Libra, Saturn in Capricorn. From Saturn in Libra to Saturn in Sag, this induced conflict. And Saturn in Capricorn is the ability to resolve conflict or go into an even deeper state of war. There will be a deeper state of war if one or both people decide not to be authentic and not to stand in integrity. And the way this is kicking off with this full moon, and let me just kind of interrupt. Lilac Ocean nailed it. These false connections can lead to your real soulmate and twin. All right. Thank you, Mer Magic. And thank you, Inspirational Touch. We love you too. Okay. It's important to know that with this full moon that's happening now, you are integrating the full essence of your superpower into your feelings. This is going to bud over the next 2 weeks, emerge physically, and then this new moon, you're moving forward with a realistic sense of your supernatural ability, which is interesting because some of you have already had supernatural ability versus some of you who are stepping into this for the first time. When it comes to supernatural ability, you have to remember the interconnectivity of humanity and how we're all just one organism, layering with another huge organism, layering with another singularity. And so we are now having to come to terms with no, we are not doing super chat this evening. So great question. You are now having to come to terms with the important connectivity of having your own individuality while still acknowledging the connection. This is why it's so hard for many people to deal with the telepathy that is going on in play. Some of you are so afraid of being antagonized because you fall into the trap of making yourself feel like you can't be too narcissistic, you can't be too selfish, you can't appear a certain way. That's a lie. Yes, you can. If you're being manipulated to be a certain way because it comes out of a social norm, then break that social norm and give yourself the freedom you deserve. Because this enhanced manipulation is only going to get much greater to where you're getting subliminally dissed by others in an effort to knock you off your path. But if you're standing in integrity, you shouldn't even let that get to you. If you're focused on your mission and you're putting your mind, body, and soul into the work that you're doing, it doesn't matter what other people who don't have anything to serve on your path have to say or do to you. And it's very, 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 very important that you embrace this wholeheartedly. Okay. Practice discernment, like Lady Snake Priestess said. And it's very important that you understand now more than ever, people are going to be mastering their psychic abilities. Please get out the notion in your head that the utopian society we're meant to be in is one of peace, where everyone gets along and where everyone's a friend. It has never been like that. It will never be like that. The notion and science of energy denotes that certain people's energy will always clash with other people's energy. And given the infinite array of possibility and perceptions that exist, not everyone has the maturity to compromise where needed. So for those of you trying to play superhero, you're going to be incredibly disappointed when you realize you cannot save everybody. And if you're still trying to be a martyr or a savior, you have serious ego issues that you have to work through. And keep this in mind, because you are going to have so much power moving forward to harness greatness that some of you may not feel you deserve. And none of that matters. Everything that matters is, what is the focus you're sincerely putting in to the work you know you have to do. I'm promising you, certain old conflicts will revitalize itself. And this marks the decision you have to make to believe in yourself more than ever, because Jupiter is squaring Neptune, and this is opening up a new perception. The reason why we have Jupiter in its sign, the reason why we have, for those of you, for those of you who may have just entered, I do not do super chats for ceremonies, so I do appreciate the donations. But like I said in the beginning, please don't send super chats unless you want to donate money. You totally can. D Lady Manhattan, for tomorrow's webinar, you go to my website and go to the Capricorn season webinar. As far as tomorrow's full moon in Cancer ceremony, that is free. And you can do this by going on the link to the comments below or the description box below as well. Okay. Other than that, it's very important that you put yourself in a position to come to terms with how you sincerely feel. This is going to be a marked distinction. Please hit that like button for those of you who haven't, of much greater integrity in your power and a much greater distinction of officialness in your craft. But let's just be honest, so many people are goddamn petty. And, not a lot of people are willing to think outside of just themselves. So you are going to deal with people who take a lot of their own psychic abilities and skills and blatantly misabuse them. You are going to be dealing with people who now start to take action with their true mission, and you cannot let that get to you. You cannot take it personally, because that is the path that they chose. Let me put this in context. North Node in Pisces was the area and position, this is an analogy, where Jesus gathered the disciples. Once all the disciples were gathered, North Node in Aquarius will denote when they started to move as a unit and they started to come into their true intentions. North Node in Capricorn represents when Judas makes the move to betray Jesus. This is where people start to take actions and you start to see their true colors, because Capricorn and Cancer is all about character, the sincerity, depth of emotion in Cancer, the integrity, officialness that is in Capricorn to emerge your greatest self. Sagittarius wants you to live your best life, and it's very important that in the ascertaining of you stepping into your best life, you don't at all take seriously the ways other people may put you down. Shout out to 21 Savage. I think out of all the newer artists, he's refreshingly real. And he has put out an album called I Am is Greater Than I Was. There's this toxic, disgusting culture of people who take elements of your past and try and use it to undermine who you are in the present. Doesn't matter what kind of excuse you make for it, it's not necessary. And please use common sense. We're not talking about instances where it's realistically right to do so. If somebody is fronting or pretending to be a certain image, but their past speaks otherwise, and they're currently still facilitating stuff in their past, then you need to bring up stuff in the past to augment what's happening across all time. We're talking about people who have left that past behind, evolved from their past, acknowledged their mistakes, and have moved forward since then and have not gone back there. You're petty if you bring up their past. You're petty if you're failing if you let other people bring up your past in this fashion, and just keep that in mind. It is a psychological tactic that is used to stain one's credibility. And the lack of sincerity here is what will give people away. How much integrity do people have when they try and call out people? How much integrity do people have when they take certain actions? This is what's going to be seen keenly in a super, 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 super powerful way. And I'm going to say this one more time. Some of you are around sleeper agents, people who may not even know that they're being influenced by frequency control. People who may not even be aware that there is a trigger that will awaken in them, and they could literally turn into an MK Ultra agent. And like Mercurial Muse, we'll find out on Christmas, okay? It's very important that you protect your sacred space. I'm not telling this to fear you, because it doesn't matter how powerful or how skilled these agents and secret spies are. If you stand in integrity and you stay true to yourself, nothing can break your core. Okay. So keep that in mind. This full moon is going to establish the initial gifts of the South Node. Every new and full moon on an eclipse is giving you the full moon gift or the South Node gift in increments and chunks, so that you can use the South Node gift for your North Node lesson. South Node Capricorn is awesome. I am being very biased, but South Node Capricorn is receiving capital. It's receiving positions of power. It's receiving advancements, and it's also receiving evolution and success, so that you can manifest greater sincerity. This is how you fail. If a lot of you receive extra money because you have greater trust by people investing you, and you let that get to your head, and it's like, oh, look at me, I got this extra advance, I got this money. You're not necessarily investing it sincerely. You want to take these resources and cover your ass and make sure you invest them appropriately, and make sure you're doing your job, so that you can take this responsibility, show others you're trustworthy with it. And if you pass this, people will not only trust you more, but you'll feel a much greater connection to everyone involved. But this is not just the South Node in Capricorn. This is the South Node in Capricorn with Pluto and Saturn. And this isn't just Pluto and Saturn in Cap. Saturn is officially in the second decan. How many of you have been feeling? Comment a fire sign emoji. And for those of you who just started watching now, please hit that like button. Let us show the presence here. You're not liking this for me. You're liking this for us. This shows the world our presence and how much we're engaged in this topic. I'm doing this for you. Please do not send me any super chat. I'm not going to interpret any cards for super chat. I'm going to pull cards for the signs, but I'm not going to pull cards for the super chat. I want to focus on the ceremony because this is a very serious full moon. Okay. I'm kind of shocked at how 20 minutes just flew by, but I'm a Gemini and I'm convinced I can just talk for hours. It is what it is. But keep this in mind because the psychic connectivity of your ability to really bring this greatness is important. Comment a fire sign emoji if you have felt an intensity building, if you have felt this negativity and intensity building. Saturn is the energy that makes you feel like you have to take something serious. And Pluto and Scorpio is the energy that adds so much extreme intensity to this. This is why Scorpios and Capricorns could be super annoying to Geminis or to Aries because they take things super extreme and they take things super serious. Someone can just say a joke and then the Saturn energy will be like, do you know, why are you just saying that? And then the Pluto energy will be like, are you serious? Did you? Okay. And then Scorpio and Capricorn find Gemini and Aries just as annoying because we don't take things serious enough. It works both ways. So if you've noticed this intensity, this unsettling feeling that things are getting more serious, that there's greater tension in the air, it's war. Wait, guys, I don't know if you know, but there is a war brewing outside. And this is something that many people don't like to accept because no one wants to go through a war, period. It's just realistically, if we look at every time Uranus was in Taurus, if we look at every time Pluto was coming out of Capricorn, if we look at every time Jupiter was in Sagittarius, it involved some type of warfare. And let me not say every time. If we looked at every time there was war, you had Jupiter in Sag, you had Pluto coming out of Cap, you had Uranus going through Taurus. It was these similar aspects that are only coming back around on itself. Because let me tell you something frightening. Every conclusion of the war was never concluded. World War One, World War II, the Civil War, they were never concluded. Everything that concluded it was basically a band-aid. The effective quality of the United Nations has not really been solving anything, but allocating resources to a degree that take other nations and add a greater level of contempt that passes down through generations. Think about people in Palestine. Think about people in Syria. Think about people in Mexico. If you don't think they're brewing their own form of revolution, then you have to understand that right now you are in the middle of a war ground because there is an illusion of peace, Neptune and Pisces, that is really captivating everyone. How safe are you right now? Do any of you know that the majority of people you walk around in your day-to-day reality, how do you know that they're not a secret agent that works for another government intelligence agency waiting? I mean, this is real. This is real. Take our recent elections. The whole issue of it was spies that possibly rigged the elections. So the whole notion about there being spies has always been a real thing. And if you think that the Cold War has ended, it's not. Anybody can just walk up where you are and pull out an AK-47. How do you know that certain people who rep a different nationality aren't secret spies that are betting their loyalty and allegiance to another country, traveling back and forth. You have and here's a hypothetical situation. If America went to war with China right now, if America went to war with China right now, or with the greater part of Asia, what's to say every Chinatown, every Koreatown in America, in every major city of America, will not become sleeper cells of people who are going to be loyal to their country? Who's to say every Chinese person in America is going to be like, oh, well, we're in America, so we're just going to fight for America? We probably already have soldiers on here who are ready to do damage, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen. That's an extreme hypothetical situation, but I need to let you know the reality of how who you think is who is not at all who they really are. And all that is coming into play now. The of the button is Saturn and Pluto. That's on the South Node, where people are going to realistically express very powerfully where their allegiances lie with their actions and with what they don't do. Period. And I'm just letting you know this on a very basic level. Okay. I'm telling you this so that you realize this period is going to be some of the realest periods ever, where we're going to have to realistically sense the danger of how things can go out of proportion in a very dark way. What's up, Jay Leaves? How you doing, bro? It's very important because a lot of how you define your character is going to bring in 10 years of growth in your character and how you're ready to make important fated decisions that will align your direction and decisions moving forward. Okay. Greetings, Robert. So, what's up, Charlene? What's up, Nebula Club? Why are Cancer transits so extreme? Because we have the extremity of Pluto in Capricorn. It will be life or death. This is what I'm talking about when I said comment a fire sign emoji if you feel this increasing tension of intensity and seriousness around you. People are depressed. People are not happy. There are a lot of people who feel lost, and there are so many people who realistically feel like life is just not worth living. The weird thing is that they think it's just them who feels this, when you would be so surprised how many people are just dabbling with the possibility of just ending it all. It is an illusion. It is a psychological ploy by dark forces to give up your birthright to live before we enter the new dawn in 2024. And it is 100% a maneuver to make sure you fold to this pressure. Let me tell you something. This pressure and intensity is only going to get more intense. Saturn is finally at the second decan. This is taking all this initial intensity and pressure that was established with Pluto in 2008 and now adding it with Saturn to where it's going to get even more intense, to where you better keep that same energy, because people are going to now confront you directly about what you say. People are going to confront you directly about what you feel. And a lot of this seemingly telepathic or schizophrenic delusionary energy, I just said delusionary, will not really just be in your head. It's going to be so much real. And this is where I say, especially as the $1 billion vibe tribe, we did not do all these ceremonies. We did not grow through all these challenges just so that we can be punks in the face of challenge. Evolve or evaporate, children, like Ethernosis has so appropriately said. And let me tell you something, the going is going to get tough, but that should not have you going or quitting. I promise you, things are going to get so much more challenging. And on the flip side, you're going to manifest a lot more of your desires, but you have to be willing to stand up to each and every single one of your fears. And remember that before you complain or take things negatively, there are children in Sudan, there are children in Syria who are dying right now. There are children in Palestine who are getting killed right now, who wish that they had the luxury and opportunities that you have now. Many people feel and know that they have so much to be grateful for, and yet they feel guilty for feeling a certain sense of lack as if it's not enough. This is not for no reason. Many of you are stepping into the next level and world of yourself. And this transition period will feel like death because effectively your old world is completely dying. Okay. We're entering into a generation where there's going to be such a proactive sense of philanthropy and actually going out into these war torn areas in a much more authentic way to deal directly with these issues. And it definitely starts here in your own home countries. And it 100% starts in here in your own feelings and emotions. The purpose of this full moon right now in Cancer is to bring up legitimate feelings and emotions that you have to the surface and contemplate them so that you can make appropriate decisions. Everything that has occurred up until this point was just to bring up what was possible so you can move forward and make decisions now. At the end of the week, the moon will be in Libra, the first quarter square of this transit, while Mars is ready to enter Aries. And this is going to have you blast forward, ready to move forward on projects that you have been putting into play for years, ready to manifest twin flame and sacred partnerships that you've been confused about and in and out for years, ready to emerge a supernatural part of yourself that requires the death of your old ego that you have been fighting yourself with over for years. I hope you know at this point that this isn't even Michael that is saying this. I don't say this a lot because only 30 or 20% of you realize, because you have Uranus or Neptune on your sun or moon. And you know by now, this isn't really Michael that is channeling this energy. This is another being and entity using his body as a vessel. How do you make sense of things that are so abstract in that quality without sounding vague as all hell? Welcome to the North Node in goddamn Cancer, where Jupiter is in Sagittarius, and we can now make sense of these weird, abstract, strange themes. Neptune square Jupiter is literally taking your perception of reality and blasting forth a new, fresh way to perceive what you thought is real, which is why it's a square. It doesn't make sense. Whenever you learn something new, whenever you come into a new perspective of something, it means that the old thing you perceived wasn't right. When you come into a new belief, when you come into a new fact, when you come into a new understanding, it means the old understanding you have no longer aligns with the current one. And that square denotes a transition, because once you come into this fresh new perspective, and this goes into Capricorn, this starts to sextile in a powerful way that denotes being in a position to now adjust your focus. So you want to allow yourself to believe in things that are not even true, not so that you can attach to them, but so that you can explore the possibilities of how you can stretch out your perception. This Jupiter will go to Capricorn. What's up, Luna? And you will now be able to shed what isn't true and work with what's real. Okay. Other than that, if you're ready to emerge your supernatural power and ability, I want you to comment a wave or water drop emoji, because in order to really tap into the supernatural power, it starts with your connection to water. The whole notion between, if you notice, I'm not cracking no jokes this time. I'm very serious. And moving forward, I don't really have the luxury to play around, and I have to really produce on a much more serious level, because the actions that are going to be taken to delegitimize the path that I walk and what we're doing is going to bring into account the outnumbered nature that this community is in. People love to down talk the conscious community. People love to down talk the spiritual community. There is a lot of weird things that go down and are associated with this community, but anyone who talks down on it is completely full of crap, because they're overlooking the thousands of authentic, real people who are looking for an outlet to express their imagination and to express their version of what they perceive reality to be. So you're not going to hear me say, oh, I don't mess with the conscious community. I don't mess with the spiritual community. I don't see y'all as a community. I see y'all as real human beings. This is not something you can put in a box. Everything that you're going through is everything that people who don't believe in astrology are also going through. It's everything that people who are still going to a mosque or a church on Sunday are going through. There is no such thing as an astrological community, because astrology transcends the world. It does not matter if you believe in astrology or not. The sun is still going to transit and travel across the ecliptic. The earth is going to revolve around the sun and the rest of the planets. Facts don't give a goddamn about your feelings, and whether people believe in transits or not, astrology affects them. You either believe in astrology or you will. Period. You either get it now or you'll get it later. So when I address these things, they're not specific to some small community. It is addressed to the world. Those that have ears, you better listen. Period. This is a very important chapter of your life that's going to have you move seriously like never before. Okay. I mean, I'm a Gemini. I don't take much seriously because I see how fake the world is. And that doesn't necessarily give me incentive to give a damn when other people won't care when I'm doing stuff that I really care about. But this is activating my Capricorn. So I have no choice but to be real, realer than I've ever been. And like Secret Law said, like altered reality, there are timelines that are merging right now. Okay. All the different, see, it's hard to talk about timelines because when it comes to different timelines, we're bringing in the non-linear nature of existence, merging with the linear nature of reality, where certain people are not aware yet that certain laws and rules of physics are not really bound as much as we think we are. And magic can be implemented to completely warp reality and certain laws of physics in a limited, local, or universal aspect and sense. And if you don't believe that, that's fine. I told you this is a really out there concept. Uranus is going to enter Taurus in March, and you will see this for real. And you'll see that you're going to be blown. And you'll see I wasn't just talking shit. March 2019. Hold me to that. So what's important with this is as all these timelines merge, everyone who has ever been a part of your life is now going to come in a culminated point to where you have to address everyone. This is why this is fated decision making. You're having to address where you stand with every single person in your life, with every single experience in your life. All the timelines that are merging across fields, all the timelines that are merging in your own personal narrative, all the filler arcs you've gone through, and especially all the main arcs you're ready to step into. The important facet of this is very interesting because a lot of you have been so confused about why you can't connect with the soulmate or why you're not necessarily sure things aren't working right. Many of you were unaware that you were aware of your soulmate's energy before they merged within your timeline. Some of you are unaware that you were living and especially if you're a mutable sign, cardinal signs pick a timeline and they follow it. And in certain conjunctions, in Aries, a Libra, a Capricorn, or a Cancer will shift timelines and walk forward in that sense. All right. Fixed signs stay true to a timeline and they stick to that timeline. Mutable signs literally hop timelines so fast that they're not always going to be aware. The only ones that can be aware of timeline skippings are Pisces and Sagittarius. Gemini is never aware of it. They will sense it, but they're not aware. Virgo is sometimes aware of it, but they don't have the full awareness. So mutable signs are coming into an interlapping of all timelines. And for those of you who are skipping timelines, when you skip the timeline, your soulmate connection or your obligation to a career or a possibility changes as well. And some of you are like, how come I have a connection with this person? How come I have a connection with that person? Interconnectivity is a whole different story because you can have connections with multiple people that can be romantic or not romantic. But this is what has accounted for you seeing synchronicities leading to a certain person versus synchronicities leading to another person. As all these timelines merge, you realize that these synchronicities and signs were leading you back to yourself all along. And it's actually going to piss some of you off because it's like, wow, this is super cliche. Please hit that like button. What's up, Young Chains? What's up, the Supreme Being? So for those of you who, and it's amazing because so many of you now are catching up to others who are older and we're just like, you know what? Screw this love thing. The feminine is just at this point so like pissed off. They're like, I don't know about men. I literally spoke to a very powerful soulmate of mine yesterday, and she was all like, damn, do I need to become a lesbian? Like, I don't know what's up with y'all, man. Like, y'all are not, I mean, I'm a paraphrase for her, but there's a lot of women who kind of feel that a majority of men are not really breaking through the way they need to. They're not stepping up to that masculine role. A lot of people love to say men are turning into women. And you know what? Actually, oddly enough, it is happening. You're having a lot in the transgender community literally turn into women. All right. And then for the masculine, you have this whole dynamic of feeling unworthy, of feeling misunderstood, of getting, accused of things that they haven't done. And so it makes them have to worry about being vulnerable. And then they also have to deal with women who aren't in integrity. And this is just letting, whether you're straight, whether you're homosexual, the whole theme of intimacy and the whole theme of trusting another person with your space is really starting to come into such a head that you're at your lowest place. And this is where you're ready to break through. The universe was waiting for you to be broken at this level. Not all of you are. To where now, thank you, Yale. Great question. To where now, you know what I'm saying? You're finally old kids' sons. You're so right. Okay, it is a conspiracy to kind of shame men for weird ways that you come into a mindset. Okay. Interestingly enough, it's very interesting. I apologize if I seemed ignorant for my transgender comment. When I said that men are turning into women, I really do mean that men are turning into women. I never once said that it's about them transitioning into the other. I'm saying at a realistic sense, you have men that are turning into women that are saying that they are a woman. And so I'm not saying this in a way to bash them. I'm not saying this in a way to say what they're doing is wrong. I'm just speaking facts. I'm telling you consciously what the social issues we're facing are. I'm not at all talking about my beliefs about transgendered people or about homosexual people or about straight people. I'm telling you, based on what men and women are realistically talking about, this is what we're having to face. Okay. So it's important that you don't take personally the facts that I'm saying and just listen to them as they are. I am only stating facts. This is a very realistic dynamic that's going down. And if I do come across as ignorant, that's only because you're projecting that. Many of you seem to get what I mean. And it's very important to notice that how these whole issues are going to come at a head and how people are going to come into a much more realistic sense of who they are. Karen Beadle said, "My soulmate better not be wow." And I feel you. Thank you. I don't have to apologize, but it is what it is. Um, Once again, this is kind of a part of it too, where there's almost a fear of expressing your truth. Thank you. The fact that I have to give a disclaimer is hilarious because you can say certain things and people will get unnecessarily triggered by it because they feel like it kind of influences or affect them in a certain way. And all this is important. All of this is being brought into the focus because people aren't being honest with each other. People aren't really kind of opening up. And so this is where this is going to come at a huge head. And all I need to ask you right now is, how do you feel about these issues? How do you feel personally about every single thing in your life that constitutes your character? Every single one of these questions, people don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear the truth, soul source. Every single one of these questions are going to be brought up. You're going to have to answer hard questions that will definitely trigger other people. Okay. How do you feel about yourself? The most important thing. And there are these divisive politics, just like Sarah Rose said, right? It's called literal being, literal speaking about the actual 3D results. Okay. It's very important to really keep in mind these divisive politics, because if you listen to the energy that is kind of being manipulated, they're trying, I don't want to say they're trying to, but there's this narrative that's pitting men against women. There's this narrative that's trying to pit women against women and men against men and just people against each other, which is a social narrative that presupposes that there's some beef that's not really going on at all. And people getting so offended by the truth or someone's perception that they don't have to take personally because it's someone else's perception and narrative. It just kind of makes things very, very twisted in a weird way. Shout out to Sarah Rose. I remember this is kind of cool because, you know, there's that whole notion behind the respectability behind, you know, whether someone deserves respect because they wear or bear a lack of clothes on the internet, right? I'm just say it right now. It doesn't matter how much a man or woman is wearing or not wearing. That does not indicate whether they deserve respect or not, period. Okay. Such traditional aspects with the South Node Capricorn are going to come into full head where people are open about their prejudice. People are so much more open about their traditional beliefs. People are so much more open about things that can trigger you. A lot of people try and flip this around and they'll be like, well, Peace Dealer or Mike, if someone called you a nigger to your face, if someone said, I hate black people or I think black people do this, wouldn't you be offended? No. Why would I care? Not at all. And people don't believe me when I say that. And it's like, why should I care about someone else's opinion? And I've been in this position before. When people open up like that, I want to listen more. I'm like, okay, is that how you feel? Like you feel we're inferior as a people? Like I want to understand where you're coming from here. I don't get triggered like other Black people may get. I don't get defensive like, oh, what did you say? Oh, you're disrespecting me? Because I know that whatever opinion they have, to acknowledge it in that way, you are giving that person power. You are subconsciously telling that person what you think and what you said affects me at such a personal level that I have to give you my power and reaction when I will never be like that. Because at a deep core level, I could give a fuck less what you say, period. Unless I know you, unless I know you're sincere with what you're saying, unless you actually know what you're talking about, period. So you can't get triggered. You're not supposed to just like open up to disrespect from other people, but you have to be in a position to listen to the energy behind what people are saying. And you're right, Miyoshi, it's so corny and played out now, right? Certain people, you have to listen to the energy behind what people are saying. If you listen to the energy, if you pay attention to the energy, this is what Cancer and Capricorn want to teach you: sincerity and integrity. Watch how people move. For 4 years now, I have come through with everything I've said I'm going to come through for. Let me tell you why this is important. This is integrity in a nutshell. For 4 years now, I have opened shop to give people consultations, to give people readings, to give you myself, to be honest and to stay true. I have given amazing readings. I have reviews on my Facebook page to attest for the positive work and influence that I have busted my ass putting in for y'all. I have taken money from y'all with the promise that I will invest it and share it to nonprofit organizations over the past year. And in a powerful 2018 year, we have raised through my Patreon page over $1,000 to help veterans. I literally have a letter from a veteran who thanked me and an extension Patreon fam for sending like $444. I have taken a percentage of money and I have given it. I have shown myself to be trustworthy. I didn't hide that money. I didn't take that money away. I have not crossed the line and boundary when it comes to confidentiality with clients. I have not tried to sexually express myself on clients. I mean, there might be, in fact, I won't even say that next part because that sounds like a joke. But I have not personally and powerfully, unless you want to come up and admit it, I have never been disrespectful to any single person I've done a reading because I take this serious. So what does that say? I have integrity. Why is that important? Just like before, when certain people who I will not mention have tried to tear my name down, have tried to defame me disgustingly, I didn't have to sweat. I did not have to sweat at all. Somebody outright said that I've been taking money from you guys and I didn't donate it to a charity relief. And I just laughed at that because I have the receipt that proves that I did. And at any time, if this gets brought up, I can show that I had integrity. Tessa G asked, where is this going? The South Node is in Capricorn, my friend. This is talking about integrity. I'm using this example to show how the integrity that I'm not saying this to brag, the integrity that I have worked hard to manifest is going to see me through as long as I stay with integrity and I don't let this get to my head. I have receipts that I have done everything I promised I was going to do. And this is why, just like I have done this, you have done this in a certain aspect of your life as well. And when people come to attack you, because let me tell you something, I'm well aware any attacks on my character are far from over. I've only received the initial sense of this with certain individuals. There's more to come, but I'm not worried. Anyone who wants to talk crap on me, like I've literally been accused of sexually molesting women that I've never even met. I've literally been accused of endangering someone's child that I had nothing to do with. I've been accused of making posts about someone that had nothing to do with them, and I've had threats come to me. People say that I'm a horrible person because of shit I didn't do. And have I had to pay for it? No, because I had integrity, because I know I'm not guilty of anything that I was being accused of. And I know in future, anyone that wants to say anything about me, anyone who wants to come at me and try and defame my character, you better say it to my face. If you can't have a private conversation with me or a heart to heart, then you can try and do this social media BS, but I will not acknowledge it. I don't have to acknowledge it. I have Elegua, I have Ogun, I have Obatala, I have the Angels, I have the $1 billion Vibe Tribe, I have real friends that I know in my life who rock with me, and I have walked with integrity. I don't have to address any of the drama. I don't have to address any of the gossip. All I have to do is focus on the work that I do every day for you, period. And I'm saying that to myself and as myself because it applies to you as well. This is why I'm saying, for those of you who have integrity, you already have victory. You don't even have to, and this is what this full moon denotes. We're going to get to the ceremony portion soon, but I wanted to spend this hour prepping this to let you know you're already victorious. Any of you who are making the decision to become your greatest self, you have already achieved victory. And you are now going to start to see the true colors of other people who have been trying to use you, of people who have had nothing but positive intent for you. You might find that certain people you were unsure about were on your side the whole time. They just didn't have the best way of showing it. You might find that certain people who have been looking at you, some of you watching, I know you're checking me in because you've heard negative things about me and you want to see if it's true. Well, as you continue to watch me, and some of you have seen, and this does not just apply to me, some people who have been iffy about you because you've walked with integrity, they're realizing what's true. They're like, oh, this person's actually all right. I've received many emails from people saying, I don't know, man. When I started watching you, I thought you were crazy. I didn't really like you at all. I didn't really connect with you. But as I started to watch more, I started to resonate more with what you're saying. And this is my real life experience to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. We're going to evoke the 4 elements. After we evoke the 4 elements, we're going to make an important decision on what it is your greatness is. You're going to feel this, and then we're going to bring up feelings of lack and worry, and we're going to release that worry, and we're going to move forward bosses. We are the $1 billion Vibe Tribe. You are the Vibe Tribers, and we are the Vibe Tribers. We know the vibes, okay? And this is very important. By the way, any of you who have ordered t-shirts, I'm going to start putting them in production January 1st. I'm traveling to Texas next week. I come back on the 1st, and any of you who got merch, I'm going to start then. And I will update and email y'all on the process. So if any of you want to know what's taking long or where the shirts are, worry not. We will get that in motion. I have $1 billion Vibe Tribe tees available on the site right now. I have Capricorn and Sagittarius tees. We're getting the rest of the signs up. But Aquarius, you are next up. That Aquarius design is dope. Once again, I highly recommend for all of you to go to my website and to purchase my webinar that I will be doing tomorrow at noon p.m. PST. During this webinar, we are going to uncover the meaning of Capricorn season. We're going to do an intention ceremony. We are going to look at the planets that are relevant and the perspective of those parents. I'm going to El Paso, guys. The perspective of those planets. Then we're going to break down the transits generally for Capricorn season. And then we're going to go into each sign. I'm going to talk about for Tauruses how Uranus is going to be squaring Pluto and how you have to stay true to your spiritual beliefs. I'm going to break down for with Libra how there is a war on your image and how certain people in your private life are undermining your own power because they're jealous. Referencing the Sun square Neptune, or rather Pluto and Saturn. I'm going to talk about for Leos how with this sixth house quincunx with Capricorn and also squaring your North Node Uranus, you guys are breaking into more wealth than you've ever broken into the more you believe in yourself. So if you want those details, come through. I'm putting my heart and soul in these, and I definitely want to get compensated for it as well. And I'm coming out with so much more free series that at least balance out. So those of you who may not be able to afford it feel like you're missing out at all, because I don't want that. And other than that, yeah, shout out to those of you who have ordered reports. I'm loving the feedback. Shout out to those of you who are getting consultations. They're only getting better and better. So yeah, please feel free to email me feedback. Please feel free to email me testimonials. Honestly, some of the things that make my day the most is when you guys email me feedback, is when you guys email me, testimonials of what's happened. Okay. And it's very important because some of you feel like, some of you apologize. You're like, I'm sorry for writing a paragraph. Please, I'm sorry for writing too much. I don't mind that. I actually like the fact that you guys email me, have discernment, don't just talk my ear off. But if you really want to share something about you, you know what I'm saying? If you definitely want to come into it, someone just email me right now and feedback of the romance reading. Thank you so much, Patience. I'm going to read this more in depth after the live, but yeah, I really do this for y'all. So keep that in mind. $1 Billion Vibe Tribe shirts are on my thepeacedealer.com account. Ronnie G said, do you recommend watching webinars for certain placements over another? Great question. The way that I structure these webinars is in a format to where you want to watch every sign, because I'm not going to be speaking objectively of the sign, but purely about the energy. So let's say you're a Taurus and I'm covering Libra. When I go over Libra's transits, the main message of Libra will not apply to you directly, but it will apply to your sixth house, because Libra is your sixth house. Yes, Miss Sanche, it is about time. And thank you, Desiree. So great question. You don't necessarily want to worry about certain placements over the others. It is holistic to where you can watch the whole webinar and gain something from every aspect. Okay. I will take question and answers because this is the only webinar that I'll do live. The rest will just be downloadable videos. Okay. Anyway, other than that, HTH TV3, this specific first webinar is going to be a YouTube live broadcast. So I will take questions and answers to where you can comment in the live chat. Okay. Other than that, you know what I mean? This fated decision making is brought to you in part of Saturn 10 degrees Capricorn that is ready to take all the beginning parts of what you are ready to do and move it forward. And let me kind of explain that, because Saturn going from 0 to 10 degrees of Capricorn has everything to do with bringing in the small pieces. All right. This is why there was this, take the merch. Like, this is all timing personally. I'm going to talk about my merch, and I want you to take my merchandising with whatever you have been working for. Saturn is career. Saturn is your legacy. Okay. So it has taken a while to get to this part. Do you think it's a coincidence that right now that Saturn is 10 degrees, I'm putting out merch? I didn't plan it like that. I wanted to put this out earlier, but Saturn retrograded. And so certain plans had to be brought back to the drawing board. Okay. Just like I'm producing this now that it's 10 degrees, you yourself are getting ready to move forward with something in an integrated sense. The first degrees of Saturn in Capricorn is in the Capricorn decan, which puts together every single piece. And now that it's 10 degrees, it takes that initial sense from within you and it brings it all together to where you can move forward with an initial sense that over the next 10 degrees will build on even greater on itself. As you're now ready to push this out, the supreme being nailed it. It's because you're purging, because Pluto is here too. And once we get to the third decan in 2020, we're taking this integration of what was subconscious. Now that we're in the second decan with Saturn in the Venus decan, adding beauty and finesse. So now that it's at the third decan, you're taking what was integrated at a conscious level and pushing it to the world. You're going to be feeling greater pressure, and you're going to be feeling more of the useless opinions of other people who are not laying a finger to help you do what you do, but I don't know, for some dumbass reason want to give you their dumb opinion to just undermine you. Skater Boy 1317, yes, I'm taking ideas for shirts. I'm actually going to collab with certain designers to start to produce this over the next coming years. So if you have ideas for shirts, you can comment them down below. I recommend you email them to me because I'll be able to see them there, and then I just write them down in my merchandising notes. So definitely keep that in mind. 1111, I know it's probably 1112, but make a wish. And other than that, as you breathe down to your diaphragm, and breathe out gratitude, I want to say congratulations. You've made it. There's a lot of people who haven't made it. There's certain people who were deceived and felt that they had to end their lives. There's certain people who have been murdered and killed. There's certain people who just didn't make it. But you're here. You're living on for them, okay? And it's totally important. Floss C4 for show. I'm going to comment down below my PO box. I'm going to make a special video about that soon. But if any of you want to send me anything, like if you want me to send something to rep your brand per se, you can send it to my PO box. All right. PO box 97533, Las Vegas, Nevada 89193. Okay. If any of y'all want to send me some Christmas presents, let me know. But other than that, I'm doing an unboxing series. You guys have seen me initially tease this with Mina Mystic, who has changed her brand to the Honest Botanist, actually. But other than that, if any of you are producers of content, if any of you make like crystals, candles, if any of you have any shop, you can send me a sample of what you got to that PO box, and I will do an unboxing video and I'll promote your service or product through that in the video. Okay. I believe I'm a size large, if not medium. I can't believe I just did that. Anyway, other than that, this is really important because as you breathe down to your diaphragm, yes, I can put the PO box in the description. Great question. Oops, did this even comment? As you breathe down to your diaphragm and breathe out gratitude, I want you to feel who you are, who you become, and what are the relevant decisions that you're ready to move forward with and also commit to. So just spend some time kind of focusing on that right now. Whoever wanted me to put this in the description box, I'm doing that right now. And you just have to scroll down to the bottom and refresh your page, okay, by the time you hear this. I want you to really think about the decisions that you have to make. Some of you have very important decisions to make regarding where you're going to take your life, regarding who you have to be, right? Let me give you an example of certain decisions I'm going to make, okay? This has a lot to do. Yeah, the ceremony is just starting now. Okay. Shout out to Chad who flowed with the right timing. This is important because what you want to do, primarily speaking, is to focus on who you are becoming. Okay. I'll use myself as an example. I'm definitely going to be committing to waking up early and running in the morning, which requires having to go to sleep early so I can't binge watch anime at night like I love to do so well. And also being in a position to eat healthier. I have to give up junk food. I still don't know how I feel about that. You know, it hurts me a little bit to have to accept that. But also, I'm going to commit to a certain phase of production. These are fated decisions that I'm having to make in order to enhance my character, let's say. So, other than that, you're going to come into such a much more powerful sense of yourself that as you make these decisions, what will rise to the surface are minor insecurities and feelings of a lack of worth. This is the opposition of Capricorn and Cancer. The opposition of Capricorn and Cancer entails at its worst an elitism and feeling unworthy, right? Shout out to Zach Mount. We're going to hashtag raise the bar 2019. I feel you on that. Okay. And you're definitely in a position to step into a much more greater facet of yourself. So let me rephrase everything I just said. As you're kind of feeling into this, I want you to now feel your energy, or rather your stress, drain out your feet and down into the ground. Thank you, Blue Frame Integration. Much love. I'm definitely going to do a peace talk with you soon. So stay tuned. Kirky Cosmo, I definitely want to do a peace talk with you too. I'm so dumb. I don't know why I didn't invite you yet. That peace talk is going to be amazing. Okay. Other than that, I want you to just feel all the stress you have in your body sink down to the ground. Okay. And let the earth take away your stress. I'm looking at the autoplay in the playlist, and it says what's playing after this video for me is a Dolo the Pilot Man video, Dolo the Pilot Man. And the headline and tag I see is regret is spiritual regress. Okay. So, how many of you are feeling with regret? How many of you are worried that you might have messed up? Some of you, for some reason, feel that maybe you weren't cool enough for someone you liked. Maybe you didn't act well enough. Maybe you didn't necessarily do the right thing. Thank you so much, Michelle. And it's like you regret not being better. You regret making certain mistakes. I need to remind you, the heart that is meant to love you is not going to look at such petty things and stop itself from loving you. I think a lot of you need to remember that. The heart that's meant to love you. Shout out to Melanie Martinez, who just ordered a webinar ticket. Thank you. I will see you tomorrow. I think it's important. Good night, Raven. Thank you for joining. For those of you who are not able to make the live broadcast, it will be available even after it's live. But some of you need to know that the person you're meant to be with, the friends you're meant to have, they're not going to judge you. And I think that's something that people forgot in this mad race to be someone they're not, or to be better than they have to be. Some people really feel like they have to make a certain amount of money. Their body has to look a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to those of you who just joined. Hit that like button. Let's show our presence. The heart that is meant to love you is your own heart. And the heart, the people who are meant, who are going to love you, who are going to accept you, are not going to let preconceived notions get in the way. So who are you trying to impress? This is going to be a huge theme. Allow this energy to just drain. And I want you to now feel the energy of the earth grounding up from your feet up to your crown. Okay. Who are you trying to impress, beloveds? Why are you trying to kind of, you know what I'm saying? Electric Crystal says, what if you're friendless and single? Electric Crystals, that all has to do with you. If you want friends, you need to go out and find friends with the intent that you will, because no one, even if they're in a place of just three people, cannot make friends if they truly want to. It may take some time. So that's the question. That's the advice I have for those of you who feel like there's nothing around you. There are people around you. You have to be willing to have an open mind and to really kind of go out there and seek it. Many of you are not being real with yourselves, and you just want this to fall on your lap. Many of you want destiny to do the work. No, my friends, you have to do the work. You need to put yourself out there. You need to actually get to know and meet different people. I haven't, because I have not been interested in that. I'll feel desire for it, but I like my space. But I'm now starting to come out of that. And I know, given where I'm taking my life, I have to be in a position to reach out myself. Once again, though, I think it's very important that you know that you do not have to try and impress people who aren't even really feeling you. Okay. Know at a core level that somebody who is meant to actually love you is going to love you for you. That I'm feeling a weight that has to be released from people, because some of you are so preoccupied on, what if they don't accept me? What if I'm not cool enough? That's not love. And I want to correct myself, because when I was talking about Venus and Scorpio, I made it sound like love isn't meant to be transactional, and that it's not about giving and receiving, that that's more Venus. You will give and receive love in this lifetime. There's nothing wrong with giving and receiving love. What I meant to say more is, it's not meant to be strictly transactional. It is not meant to be solely, you do this for me, I do this for you. Love denotes a general acceptance of oneself. Once you tap into your sun sign and you accept yourself, it's going to be so much easier for someone else to accept you, because there will not be any shadows that the light of your sun is not falling through. In order to step into your sun sign, you have to love the parts of yourself that you don't even like. If you don't, and there's darkness there, people can come through that darkness and manipulate that against you. Okay. So shout out to Miss Renee Scott, who said, my heart is cloaked and afraid to be intimate. That takes courage to admit that. And I think you really should honor yourself for being honest to admit that. There's nothing wrong with being afraid to be intimate. That's one of my greatest fears. I am a late Taurus rising. Pluto is in my 8th house. Saturn is in my 8th house. I'm not really afraid of it, but there's just this like wince, like I just can't get close to people. It's unless like I feel a deep trust for you, I'm not trying to let you get close to me. So that is a sign of your evolution. You're realizing that your sacred space is very important. And I promise you that you are all stepping into a space of greater power and control over your actions, which will lead into more authenticity with others. You need to trust yourself first so that you can trust other people. Trust that you'll be able to manage the distrust of other people. And also know that not everyone is a lying sack of crap, and some people are amazing. and you are on a journey to connect with those people. Now that you have brought into, ooh, shout out to Zenarta. I am so sorry. I forgot to mention that if you use the code word Capricorn, you get $10 off of the webinar. Is there such a thing like loving the wrong person? Yale, that is such a great person. That's such a great question. There's no such thing as loving the wrong person, because love is just love. You don't love the right or wrong person. You just love a person. Okay. You might love someone who down the road you've realized was not in your best interest, but they're still going to take away the love that you shared with them. And if it takes them their whole life to realize what they took for granted or not, they may never get it. But it's not, you weren't wrong for doing it. You simply just did. I think that's one of the best questions that was asked tonight. Okay. So anyway, draw this earth energy up to your crown. And I want you to feel and envision white light shooting down, representing all the people in the live chat. And let this come down your crown to your feet. Breathe this in. Breathe out gratitude. All right. A connection is always a connection, like Yvonne G said. I now invite some of you to say positive affirmations to attune your vibration to a higher, more positive one, now that we have connected all our energies. And it is in this sense, I invite you to remember weak people project their emotions because they cannot control it. And weak people will attempt to bring you down to their level and try and trigger you by saying things about you and to you, and in effect to get you angry and to devolve down to their level. You do not have to acknowledge it. Whatever anyone says, whether telepathically, whether in your face, it is coming from a hurt place within them, and they are expressing that hate because of their useless perception about you. The reason why I call it useless is because you can take those same observations, have a heart to heart with someone, and come to a practical understanding. If someone is unwilling to do that and they just feel like they can project their feelings and opinions on you, let them do that. But don't let that trigger you. And know that they are weak and you are strong. You become weak when you devolve down to that. And instead of controlling your reactions, you let someone who's triggered trigger you. I'm saying this because many of you will be confronted by these impulses. And when you remember that, because this energy is intense, Saturn makes it a huge deal and Pluto makes it intense, to where you have people taking seriously stuff that if you just had an honest conversation could be squashed. I invite you to remember that Mercury is a rock planet. Saturn is a gas planet. Pluto is a gas planet. And if it's not a gas planet, it's a small rock planet. It's a small frigid ice planet. I also invite you to remember both Saturn and Pluto are farther away from the sun. They receive least or less light than Mercury does. Planets that receive less light are more cold and they are not into love. So they're not trying, okay, to come into what they are doing. All right. Jesus Christ. When I spoke about being weak, that was not a sub to anybody. I have to address this now because multiple people may feel that I was talking about them. If the shoe fits, wear that bitch. Period. If the shoe fits, wear it. I'm talking about in general. If anyone is projecting something to you that is not in a sense to actually like help, they're weak. and you don't need to entertain that. Period. Shout out to Desiree. Everyone is on the defense. I don't do subs. If I got a problem with you, I'll tell you directly. But other than that, this is important because you're coming into a greater sense of really stepping into your power. And don't thank you. I'm gonna just stop explaining myself and getting distracted. But this is very important because a very powerful level of how you will stand up to opposition that you have just let kind of come at you will define your character. This is the stage of this evolution where you're definitely being put in a position to very greatly and very powerfully stand up to opposition. In some ways, you can stand up to this opposition by just doing your work and not having to get distracted. Okay, keep that in mind. Damn. Other than that, I want you to now feel a healing waterfall of steaming blue water pour down your crown and just start to purify your energy. If you're a Cancer, if you're a Pisces, if you're a Scorpio, please allow yourself very greatly to heal the rest of this live chat. And as we are healing, because the moon is in Cancer, this is definitely going to bring a lot of channeled messages. Okay. When the moon is in Cancer, people get gaslighted. And it's very important for you not to take things personally. If you are a moon in Pisces, if you are a moon in Cancer, if you are a moon in Scorpio, or have your sun signs here, please listen to me because some of you have this habit of taking things very personally. I can already count for 3 different times in 1 week where moon and Pisces individuals think what I'm saying is about them, or they think that there's certain senses of, kind of misinterpreting things. And y'all are really psychic, but just apply a bit of logic to your thinking and not make things about you. There might be some of you watching this. Yes, in this case, I'm talking to you directly, but I'm not just talking to you. Please don't think that I am just addressing this just to you. Trust me, it's way more than just you. At this point, I think it's kind of weird to be expressing this. And yeah, other than that, for those of you who are willing to be logically focused and not necessarily take things too personally, use this extra strength to add on to your discernment. It's very, 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 very important that as we move forward, you allow yourself to stand up for yourself. Okay. Bonnie LeBaron, yes, that is it. Capricorn season 2018 webinar. If you type in the code Capricorn, you will get $10 off. And that discount lasts until tonight. Okay. So start to heal yourself with this energy. One of the first channeled messages that I want to bring into focus is to keep in mind the fact that you are worthy of what you want to accomplish. Like I was saying before, Saturn and Pluto is a gas planet. I don't know what Pluto is, but Saturn is a gas planet. So just kind of remember that whatever seriousness that comes in your face, it's just smoke and mirrors. Somebody can be in your face. God's opinion of me makes man's opinion irrelevant. Thank you, House of Judea. Someone can get in your face and turn up about how seriously embroiled they are, and they need to chill. They need to calm down because Saturn is just a gas planet. Anything that seems that serious is not that serious. Gas It's not real. It's just fog. It could be an illusion if you let it be one. So abide by those. So Pluto is a frozen rock. There we go. Abide by those, but don't necessarily let this intensity get to you. Breathe, like Ray said, which I have to too. And whenever you feel out of your center, I want you to feel yourself drawing in energy from within you. Okay. Whenever you start to feel uncentered, whenever you start to feel worried, that's because dark forces are pulling at your energy to uncenter you. Ground and center. Feel auric energy coming from your root up to your crown. Feel it coming up and through. Okay. Um, and this will help regain your sense of power. Okay. The next channeled message that I have is that some of you are allowing yourself to really be struck with guilt and regret. It's funny. It's almost as if certain people, it's almost as if maybe someone you might have offended has apologized, but you has forgiven you, but you haven't forgiven yourself. Or other people who have nothing to do with the situation or witnessed it won't forgive you for something that it is not their right or place to forgive you of. Or like Desiree, you might be proud. What's up? So keep that in mind, because some people will politic like that. Some people who it's not even their business will bring up stuff you did that doesn't relate to them in an effort to undermine you. Those people are not your friends. Those people do not have any like this is really, oh my God. This is really what I want to let you know. If you're dealing right now with anybody that makes you question their loyalty to you, anyone that makes you question their authenticity with you, see it for what it is. Don't ask yourself. If you're having to ask yourself, is this person for me or not? If you're not going to confront them and talk to them about it, then drop them. Don't let 2018 be the last year. Thank you, Bonnie. Let 2018 be the last year that you allow yourself to not listen to your intuition when you feel certain stuff about other people. Okay? Let 2019 be the year you're willing to at least confront people directly about how you feel about them if you haven't already been doing this. And if you're having thank you, Mercurial Muse. If you gotta ask the cards, then don't wait to see a sign. Stop stressing your spirit guides, okay? The next channel message I have goes into this, and it's talking very primarily about trusting your intuition. How you feel about somebody is how it is. Not for you to just listen to your own subjective emotions and go off of what you only feel. That's called being delusional. You have to confront, you have to have courage enough in your own intuition to confront another person with how you feel so that you can base that subjectively with what objectively happens with other context clues. But I'm getting the sense that some of you need signs to see whether a certain individual in your life has the best intentions for you or not. What's their behavior towards you? How much does this person respect you? By now, they've showed you. Anybody can say that they're happy for you, and not everybody that likes your success is happy for your success. They may just be surprised. But what do people's behavior say? I've seen people comment on social media that we're friends and they're just being real to me, but they have never once called me in years to see how I'm doing, to check up on me. So that lets me know that their value of what a friend is to them is totally different than what I know it to be. And I kind of want to keep discernment on that. Okay. Celestial Forces Astrology said, I am a liar and have enormous guilt. It's like killing me. That is called karma. But I think it's important for you to know that you have owned up to responsibility of not denying negative facets of your shadow. You can now integrate this. You don't have to let it kill you. And celestial forces, you have to be willing to forgive yourself. And not every, and there's a lot of people who feel like celestial forces too. Yes, you might have done things that are not really the most admirable. I mean, I get on myself as well. I've been less hardworking than I could be, even though as a captain, when I push myself a little bit too much. But I mean, I know what I'm capable of, and I know that I could be better. And it's easy for me to forgive myself. You don't want to make it hard for you to forgive yourself. It's only going to kill you because you feel like you need some punishment. You feel like you're not worthy based off of how your own shadow has ruined stuff for you. So, as long as you are taking action, in your case, to not be a liar and to deal with that guilt, then you can begin that process of moving forward. It won't be easy, but it will definitely be worth it. Okay. Keep that in mind once again, because a lot of all of this is getting ready to emerge once again these supernatural abilities. And now that we've healed with water, I would like for you all to now picture fire burning around your aura and to really just envision your greatest victory. It is always when you express and open your heart and when you shine your light, that anyone who has anything negative to say in reaction will say it to you, whether you hear it unconsciously, telepathically, or whether they show you with their words or their behavior. You have to understand that is only a reaction to your light. And you are not really meant or have to be perfect for anybody. If no one is able to realistically have a heart to heart to you to practically try and change facets of yourself, then they can try and shame you for it, but they're meaningless. They're petty and they're stupid. They're just being mad. And let me tell you something, being mad is what children do. Getting mad and angry about something is what kids do. You cannot be a grown adult just getting angry at people, but doing nothing to help and just complaining. Oh, they do this, they do that. Did you talk to that person about that? Are you going to do anything? No, you're just going to complain because you're a child. And if you're not going to grow up, then it is what it is. But for those of you who are dealing with that, you don't have to entertain that. You don't have to acknowledge that. Let children be children. So many of you are so advanced. It's like you're dealing with remedial kids who are supposed to be grown adults. Just go on and do your thing. Okay. Now, in order to close off on this ritual, all right, I want you to really feel your power. Lovely Mayhem nailed it. Sometimes we get addicted to depression. Sometimes we like that melancholy. It's comfortable. It's a comfort zone. It's time to level up out that comfort zone. Okay. And make sure you allow yourself primarily to really tap into this. So I want you to feel what is everything that you're ready to step into. And let me nail this one more time, because people will say you're delusional in their head. People will think you're crazy, but they never want to talk to you about it. Like, think about that. Some of you allow yourselves to get and take personal other people's opinions who don't even try to. Like, a real friend will pull you to the side and be like, hey, homie, this is what I see you doing. You have your life. This is what I see you doing with your life. I think it's delusional. Like, what can we do about this, bro? What can we do about this? I feel like you could do this better. I feel like you could do that better. I don't know if it's my place to say. A real friend will be willing to get vulnerable with you like that. Anyone who wants to be on the outline and the sidelines and not even like talk to you about it, not even like give you context directly, none of this passive aggressive subtle crap that is impersonal. If they're not going to personally try and work with it to you, then what they say does not matter. To them, it does, but to you, it doesn't matter. I hope this makes sense because moving forward, the whole Capricorn Cancer opposition is having to deal directly with people's stupid ass opinions. Stupid ass opinions. And they're only stupid ass opinions because they're not founded by any action. All right. It works the other way around. If you have been working with somebody, if you have been investing in someone's life, if you've been there for someone and you're trying to be honest with them and they're pushing you away, they're saying what you're saying doesn't matter, you have every right to be angry because you're being a real influence in their life. You want to work practically to help somebody and they won't. If you're just on the sidelines, if I'm like, oh, I don't like how you wear your stuff. I don't like how you say what you say. I don't like how you do what you do. All right. And you're not really in that person's life. You don't really practically, you know what I'm saying? Have a certain, I'll give you an example right now. A friend of mine just texted me recently that he didn't like how I said something. But at least I know in his case, he's being authentic. All right. So I can take offense to that, or later we can talk about it. And so I know in that case, he's not just hating, he's just honestly telling me how he feels about what I do. I'm not going to be dismissive about that versus someone else that I don't know saying, oh, I don't like how you say this. You should probably change it. And it's like, do we talk? Like, do I know you? Is there anything you want to actually like? Don't entertain stuff like that because we're in this culture where people feel like they can just kind of dictate and narrate your life. And this is where you have to stand up. Pluto and Saturn are going to kill and test you. But when you come through that, they will give you that South Nodal power to manifest feelings. And that's the whole purpose of North Node, Leo, Cancer, and Gemini. So many people have lost that spark. All opinions are not equal. That's true. So many people have lost that spark, that fire to care. And this is what is being re-sparked right now. If you're willing to die to your old self and to your own habits, okay, keep that in mind. And other than that, as you feel into this power and as you feel your greatest self, I want you to feel yourself coming into victory, okay? What are any feelings that come through that are doubting that? Because those are not your feelings. Those are impressions and energetic projections that you picked up from others subconsciously. Cancer is subtle, so you're not going to see this consciously. And it manifests as a feeling. Any feeling that feels doubt or gets in the way of you feeling into this success, release it. Just begin to release it. Say, take this away from me, Pluto. Take this away from me, Saturn. Purge it, purge it, purge it. Thank you, Dara. Great question. Do you have the qualifications to judge it all? Okay. Krista, you know a Cancer likes you because they're going to try and come over to your home and they're going to nurture you. There's this whole notion that Cancers could be shy and not come out their shell, but if they really like you, you'll be able to tell because they're definitely going to care a whole lot about what you do and they're going to be in a position to try and help you. They won't be as direct about it, but if you can notice cues, they could be hella indirect, but that's kind of how, okay? If it's a man we're talking about, they will show you. Anytime a man likes someone, they show you, okay? Shout out to Wendy Wu, who is unfuckwithable. Holler. And now, in order to close this ceremony and ritual, I would like for you to set an intention. We're going to set this intention during the new moon in Capricorn, but for the next 2 weeks, what is something you want Saturn to show you? What is something you want this Capricorn energy to show you or to manifest for you in order to feel greater comfort? Is it financial stability? Is it smoother relationships? Is it total success and completion? That's going to be one for everyone. Set that intention. And what we're going to do right now, I want you to feel energy coming out from your Tantien, coming to your heart, and I want you to feel what you love. about what you do. And let's just sit with this for a moment. Feel this energy coming up to your heart and focus it. I now want you to feel this energy go from your heart to your hands. As you charge your own magic hands with your intent. I want you to feel what your victory feels like. How do you feel successfully interacting with the right people in your life? How do you feel successfully achieving goals? Feel it come in your hands. My hands are tingling heavy right now. And finally, what is one area of breakthrough that you want to have in your life? Feel and envision this breakthrough. What does it feel like? And channel that from your heart to your hands. And now, once you feel it, I want you to project this like an energy blast and just release it. Give it to your energy of choice. I'm going to give it to Saturn because Saturn is my OG right now. So I'm going to release it, give it away, let it go, and just let it go. Release that. Release that intent and allow it to come back to you. So within the next couple of hours, stay tuned. For some of you, this can happen after 24 hours, but stay tuned for a definitive sign that will probably happen even right after. A sign that will show you you're not only on the right track, but the decisions you're making are positive for you. It's not about making the right or wrong decision. It's about committing to the decisions you make. God damn, what channels through me? This is ridiculous. But other than that, you guys stay blessed. This was a very powerful ceremony. There's some heavy hitters that be watching this and healing and by the sidelines. So for any of you who are doing rituals concurrently with this, thank you because it is greatly felt and it helps me do what I do better. Okay. The tarot card that I'm going to leave you with before we close. And thank you so much, Krista. Much appreciated. Is the Prince of Chalices. The Prince of Chalices are new feelings, which makes sense in a moon in Cancer. So you guys are going to experience new love, all right? New intuitive gifts. And if there's anyone who expresses their declaration of love to you, accept it for what it is. This is a new opportunity for love and they're new feelings. Some of you may evoke new feelings for a job you do, for a person. If any of you are touched at a heart level towards someone, tell them you love them. Write a romantic letter and declare it. Not because you want to possess them, not because you want to get with them, but because you want them to know how you feel. All right? Grant yourself that. I got the Lover's card too. So the universe has your back. And until next time, make sure you tune in 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will be with Apollodyte, and we're going to do the next level of this ceremony where we write down the conditions and restrictions to what you have to give up for your power to show up. Okay. And until next time, peace.